Happy New Year! Woohoo! It's
Woohoo!
2020. So exciting to be with you here on this New Year's Day at the very beginning of 2020. I'm your host, Michelle Marchant Johnson, and this is the Man of the Month series, and I'm incredibly excited about the possibility and the newness of the new year. And I'm incredibly excited about my guest today, who is wonderful, amazing, wise, and a dear friend of mine, and that is the wonderful Cary Valentine. Welcome, Cary.
Aloha. It's great to be here, Michelle. Thank you so much to invite me on this show. I'm really excited.
Oh, so excited to have you to kick us off with the Man of the Month series for 2020. This is so much fun. And we are really prepared to bring something special and valuable to you today, and we're so grateful for your presence. So before I introduce Cary, we will be speaking about creating the relationship of your dreams this year. Because I know at the beginning of a new year, many of you are thinking about what you would like to have happen in this new year. And even though technically it's a day on the calendar, every time we start a new year, I like to think of it as being a brand new beginning. So whatever has or hasn't happened in your life up to this point, look at this point in time as a fresh new opportunity for you. This whole year and the blessings that lie ahead are out there for you. So with that, Cary, I know so many of the women that are watching today will be familiar with you and your work. And I always love connecting with you. And you were in popular demand with the ladies. So I do want to make, they requested you as a man of the month. So I do want to make.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
So I do want to make a formal introduction, just in case we have anybody listening who may not be as familiar with you and your work. So for over a decade, Cary has been assisting tens of thousands of couples and singles throughout the world to transform their lives out of the emotional pain of relationship and dating challenges to creating joyous, juicy, sustaining relationships of their dreams. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. He has a unique ability to understand and empathize with people's pain and challenges, as his life has been littered with difficulties. Cary's transparent, humorous, uplifting style comes out of being haunted most of his life with tremendous fear, doubt, and lack of confidence, transforming his life out of depression and being on the brink of divorce to living a juicy life. He's a certified relationship coach, international speaker, facilitating relationship retreats around the globe, and an award-winning best-selling author of In Love Forever, 7 Secrets to a Joyous, Juicy Relationship, in which he co-wrote and lived out with his late wife, Wendy. Valentine's innovative, patent-pending, champion your inner game system quickly transforms fears, doubts, and worries permanently, creating more confidence, success, pleasure, and joy. Cary is an award-winning graduate of the Berklee College of Music, having performed with luminaries such as Dizzy Gillespie, members of Paul McCartney, Kenny Chesney, Stevie Wonder, Chris Bodie, REO Speedwagon, and Lionel Richie's band. Love all those musicians, Cary. That's so fun. He's also traveled and performed extensively throughout Brazil. Cary and his fiancée are getting married later this year. He and his new family are grateful to live on the enchanting Hawaiian island of Maui. Yes, where it's winter for so many of us right now, Cary. We're not feeling really sorry for you over there in the island of Maui.
I can relate. I understand. Hey,
Well,
I'm from New York and lived many, many, many years in the frigid cold winters, so I understand.
yeah.
My heart goes out to you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. While we're all singing, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. So, Cary, I'm really excited about our topic today because I do think this is something that people are thinking about this time of year, particularly women who make up the vast majority of my audience, and I think yours as well. Uh,
Yeah.
especially coming out of the holidays, I think the holiday season can be a little bit lonely and a little bit hard sometimes when you're single and you see, other couples kissing last night on New Year's Eve, and you're kind of going, okay, where's my person to kiss? Or maybe you've been through the holiday season where you've been at events with families or friends where people are coupled off. I mean, I can remember this for so many years. I used to just cringe every time, like, the company Christmas party would roll around. I'd start thinking in September or whatever, like, man, I hope I'm dating somebody by December, so I have somebody to go with. So I just think, it's kind of like at the forefront of our minds a lot of time when we're looking forward, having been through a holiday season. If we're not in a relationship, sometimes we feel it quite profoundly. I think this season and Valentine's Day, which is coming up, are kind of the two where we have like the single awareness days over and over again. So I'm really glad we're going to tap into your wisdom on this topic. So you tell me, on top of the obvious, why did you choose this topic about creating the relationship of your dreams this year?
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle. And I appreciate what you're having to share. I can totally relate to it as well, what you're talking about. The big thing is, I am an incredible proponent of getting clear with what you want to have in your life and what you desire. And not only what you desire and want to have, is dream even bigger than you can possibly imagine. And I get it. Oftentimes there'll be the doubts, the negative voices, oh, from your own self or friends or family going, aren't you kind of reaching a little too big? And the answer truly is no. And I'm excited for those who want to stick to listening to this conversation with you today to get in there and give folks real content, real juicy steps on how to truly manifest your dream life and your dream relationship. And also to actually, too, to get excited about all the things that come up in the way to do it. Because those things, I'll just, drop kind of like a big element here of understanding this. The negative voices of doubts, fears, or insecurities, from my extensive research of working with so many people and myself, is that the doubts and fears, anxiety, insecurities are actually our friends. They're actually trying to help us, not hurt us. And I'm going to get into that in our conversation today. So, um, life is so precious, Michelle. I've been personally, as you shared in the bio, a little bit of things. My life has been challenging, and really challenging. Um, in terms of things that have happened. My wife of 24 years, Wendy, passing on due to 2-year battle with brain tumor, glioblastoma, multiform, and then many people in my family dying. I got really a sense of how heartbreaking that is, obviously. Um, but I also got a sense of how precious life is. And and so, right now you may see the smiley face and all of that, but you got to understand, I've been through a lot of hell, and I've come out the other end. And so if you're, again, like a person who hasn't been in a relationship for a long time, or has been, and then a relationship ended, and then you're back into the dating world, I can relate. I can totally relate, because this has happened to me, and now, through the process I'm going to share with you, uh, this led me in such a joyous, passionate, confident way to the relationship I'm in, and getting engaged and to be married, which is, probably a desire that many of the women are listening today are interested in. So I'm really excited to help you, you know, get to where you want to go, because it works. This isn't just philosophy, because that's just not how I operate. These things have to really manifest in people's lives. So I'm excited to dive in and get to the core of this with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cary. And I know you and I have had enough conversations and have shared enough that I do know some of your background and some of the struggles. And yes, while we're seeing the smiling face right now, I know that some of your wisdom has come through experiences that have not been easy, as have mine. And I also recognize the preciousness of life in, I think, a somewhat of a unique way, having faced my own mortality in as being a cancer survivor. And so we're here to
Yeah.
encourage you and give you hope. So if you're kind of staggering in today, with kind of the single holiday hangover syndrome, I just made up a new term, then you're in the
Yeah.
right place. So, Cary,
Hmm.
so where do we begin with this? Because I know what you're saying is you're gonna help us to see like some tangible tools or techniques that we can use. But where do you think is the best place to start in our conversation today?
Yeah. Beautiful question, Michelle. I think a great place, especially so appropriate for today, New Year's Day, is so many people, have New Year's resolutions. Okay.
Hmm.
And, um, and yet most people who do that fail by the first month. Studies have shown that they've have failed. They've forgotten about their New Year's resolution because after a week or two of whatever it takes to keep those ideas going, the doubts come up or situations happen, and in reference to people may go on a few dates and go, see, these didn't work out. These guys came, had I had a great connection with them, and then they ghosted me.
Hmm.
um, and see, it's so challenging, it's so difficult. No, no, I'm not denying that reality. I'm just saying, yes, it's important to have a passion and have your goals and write them down. But not only write them down, make it real, make it part of your life every day, to be breathing into these ideas. And it's not like, I'll share more about this, but it's not like, um, uh, even though you want it to happen today, let me ask you, um, did you, I just want to know something. Did you ever put, let's say, plant an apple seed in the ground and then go, okay, I'm going to have apples tomorrow. This is going to be great. And, the next day you have a tree and the tree is grown and you have, you know, juicy, ripe apples the next day? Or does it take time to plant that seed, water and nurture that seed, and take care of it and tend to it? And then, yes, you will get that apples. Now, with the case of, right, this is what
Yep.
happens, right?
Yep.
Uh, Now, in the case of apples, unless, if you do plant it from a seed, it's going to take years because it just is. If you get, further along the way and you get a tree that's been grafted or however is grown at, let's say, a nursery, you may actually get apples that same season. It may already be there because it's further along the process. So, depending on where you are, here's something that many women and men do too. Um, they want success. They want to have the relationship of their dreams, and yet they prepare for failure. So it's almost like this. I want this juicy relationship. Yes, yummy. I wrote down all the qualities of the guy and qualities of the relationship, and then, but I can't have him. Oh, I went on a date and he, he said it was a wonderful time, and then, I never heard from him again. Or it was a terrible date, or I'm not able to get dates, or whatever the thought says, and the doubt in your head, like saying, oh, you just had a wonderful date. You just came home from a wonderful date. But then in your mind, it says, oh, this can't last. Okay. And if
Like
you
it's too
bite
good.
into it, back to the apple. Yes, yes. And then if you acknowledge, or what I call align to that doubt, that thought, then oftentimes I call it biting into the poisoned apple. Then you spiral down a well of despair, and you're back in this heavy, burdensome feeling like, oh, it's here I am again. I got excited. It took me so much to get excited. But then, boom, here I am back down the well of despair. Is this making any sense so far?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And why is it that we do that? Why is it that we like more or less kind of sabotage
Yeah,
like that, Cary?
beautiful. Oh, wow, Michelle, you just opened a big file. Okay, so
Pandora's
we
box, right?
sabotage ourselves. Yes, yes. We often sabotage ourselves for a number of reasons. One is um, if we go back to our childhood, and we might have had experiences that were not really pleasant, or some challenges in our home or challenges with our family, as well as maybe we had doubts and fears and didn't we were a little shy or had low self-esteem. We're already setting up kind of a wired pattern in ourselves from childhood of how our life is going to go forward. So it kind of goes from either, in essence, life supports me and my passion and desire and my dreams, or life doesn't support me and life's a burden, life's a challenge, and it's very difficult. And I'd like to take a moment on this just to share an interesting thing that I think will be really helpful perspective for women and for men. This is an interesting thing that's going on presently that I think it's really helpful. It's called adverse childhood experiences, okay, or called ACE, ACE. And I'd like to read just a few things about it, if that's okay,
Yeah,
Michelle.
sure.
And because this is one area of getting insight as to why these things aren't working out. All right. So, can you imagine the fear of a child would feel being chased in the woods by a bear? Imagine yourself, being a child in the woods and you're being chased by a bear and the kind of fear that could bring up.
Yeah, scary.
Okay. Now, yeah. Well, what happens when that bear comes home every night of your life as a child? So this situation called adverse childhood experiences harms children's developing brains so profoundly that the effects show up decades later, that cause many chronic diseases, brain illnesses, and are oftentimes the root of most violence. This came out by a dual study with the CDC and Kaiser insurance company, and they found that this groundbreaking public health study discovered that the childhood trauma of, let's say, physical or verbal abuse or sexual abuse or physical neglect, emotional neglect, or a parent who's an alcoholic, maybe a mother who's a victim of domestic or violence, or if there's a family member in jail or a family member diagnosed with mental illness, or the disappearance of a parent due to a divorce or separation or death, leads to a lot of these chronic diseases such as heart disease, cancer, lung disease, Alzheimer's, as well as depression, mental illness, and violence, or being a victim of violence. So there's I'll go into it, like, to acknowledge this, like this, I'll just be honest with experiences that happen with me, okay, that really has taken me a long time to get to this place. I was extremely shy as a kid. I had incredibly low self-esteem. I was so shy, Michelle, I hardly spoke. I mumbled.
Oh,
And and my father would call me, "Hey, Mumbles," like to try
oh,
to help me get out of it, but that didn't work. Okay, drumming actually became my voice when I started playing drums at 9, but I really didn't start talking till I was 13. And that was, I think, due to puberty and Robin Williams, to tell you the truth. The
Well,
humor of Robin Williams, but
who and Robin Williams?
puberty,
Oh,
like
puberty. Sorry, I
just,
didn't hear that.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I want to share, like, as I became aware of this study and these experiences, I realized these traumas were happening in my home. My parents fought almost every day, and yelling and screaming and hollering. My mother was bipolar, and I did not get that connection, that attention, that confirmation of physical and verbal confirmation of love, that hey, you're good, you're fine, you're wonderful, you're a great kid, or you have challenges, but then you have the parents who are with the kids and talk them through and let them know it's going to be okay. Like, challenges is part of life, but that doesn't mean you can't pursue and have your dreams. Now, another thing to share, times have changed in some respects, that, in the time that I grew up, and maybe yourself too, this wasn't so much in the awareness of parents' consciousness of this emotional health matters to children. It's definitely more aware of today, but I don't really see much change going on, but we're more aware of it.
Right.
So it has taken me years and years to get to this place of, now I'm confident, now I'm passionate, and don't have to deal with my, the doubts and fears and those challenges, because I've learned to transform them. So this thing called ACE is really powerful. So if what I'm sharing with you even begins to make a connection with, like, why I feel like I have doubts about having a successful relationship, you might find the roots go back to you as a child and your lack of confidence and belief and how life showed up. Was it scary? I know for me, man, Michelle, my life every day was scary. It was scary to be in my parents' home. That was scariest, like, I can remember so many times my dog, the full-bred German Shepherd, and I would sit up on the top, it's a two-story home, so on the top of the staircase, and my parents would be screaming in the kitchen, and both me and my dog, our ears would go down, looking at each other, going, "Oh, this is scary," you know. Um, and that entered into relationships of challenging for me to be confrontive, like if there was if there was a challenge in the relationship, to bring it about, because I was scared of confrontation at first, so that held me back to really being honest. But all these things I got to learn, that it was really important to get through it and get the help that I needed. And for any of you, if you feel like, this is ringing a bell for you, get the help. There's resources out there, whether it's coaches like Michelle, and things, or in that case, myself, to put it out there, or therapists or things like that. Like, you don't need to be in pain any longer. You've gone through it enough. So, I just, to quickly share too about this, teenagers today, they're so often, because it's another demographic I work with, they're so empty, many of them. And, due to, again, challenges that are going on in their home. And, with this ACE situation, that you can actually take a test, and I'll share with you how you can get that or do that. A lot of teenagers, uh, with this information, helps them to not get into substance abuse, not to be filled with anxiety and depression, and deal with other coping mechanisms that are caused from these challenges. So there was a pediatrician, there is a pediatrician named Nadine Burke Harris, who gave a TED talk about ACE. So this is, I'm just giving the tip of the iceberg. I would suggest, if this ringing true to you, to watch the TED talk on YouTube, as well as there's a test that shows you how you might, what level of intensity this kind of adverse childhood experiences you might have had. And there are many places on the internet you can get do the test score, the ACE. One is at safelaunch.org is one
Say
place.
that again,
So
Cary. Safe,
yeah, safelaunch.org.
like LAUNCH, launch.
Yes,
Safe launch.
yes,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
launch.org.
women could
Yes,
get it.
yes, yes,
Safelaunch.com.
definitely. .org. No, .org. .org.
.org.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm getting at is these experiences that I had and have helped so many people. It's like we're an adult now, but the emotions of the child is running the show. So we're reacting so much as an adult, but from the child who wasn't nourished and nurtured and comforted and told you're beautiful and wonderful and you're loved and you're awesome and you can and create whatever you want to do in your life and go for your talent. So many people, again, who are entrepreneurs or do things on their own, maybe often have these doubts and fears, and they often are linked to what went on in their childhood. Were they really supported? So this is like one wing of the bird, and the other wing of the bird, Michelle, is again why New Year's resolutions don't work is because people don't realize that when they start putting in oh, I want a beautiful man in my life. I want him to respect me. I want him, like for instance, right, these qualities to be attentive, caring. I want him to, be the backbone, be the man in my relationship, and really be there for me, and you know, and maybe in a financial way as well, but in a bigger way, just be the man who, if something goes on, he'll be there for you and support you and care, whether that's something physical in the home or some situation you were mistreated while being out at the restaurant. He'll go, oh, I'll take care of that for you. I'll go talk to the maitre d' or whatever, as well as the guy who, opens the door for you and is a gentleman. So why are these challenges come up? Again, I'm saying we're preparing for success, where lots of people are writing down their goals and are dreaming, of the Prince Charming. Why not? Why not dream of Prince Charming? Come on. Again, life is here to support us at the level we're ready to be supported at and wants us to dream big. However, listen up. When you reach big, when you go for your goals, when you say, okay, this is the year, I'm going to do it, the New Year's, and you start engaging your resolutions, right? And you go over your list every day. Be prepared for what I laughingly call the army of the aliens who are going to show up. And who are the army of the aliens? The army of the aliens are your doubts, your fears, your insecurities. Yes, your mental game. And what I call turn your doubts inside out. So when you hear like, oh, you have the strong desire to have an incredible, juicy, loving, intimate, vulnerable connection with a man, and then you start to hear, oh, that's not possible, or maybe that's great for your girlfriends or so and so, but that's not possible for you. Or you just are coming home from an amazing connection on a date, and like all of a sudden, like you're excited, you're thinking over the date as you're driving home, and you hear in your head like, oh, he's not really that into you, and it's like, wah, wah. If you buy into it, right? These
Right.
heavy feelings happen. Okay, why are they happening? They're not happening to harm or hurt you. What did I say? No, Cary is not insane. You heard correct. Those thoughts are happening not to harm or hurt you. They're happening to check your resolve. They're checking how much you believe in yourself so that you can deal with going through that next step of having something new in your life, okay? So you want to have this amazing relationship, and you're raising the bar. So your internal subconscious, the natural divine intelligence inside of you, hears you and says, great, I'm going to challenge you to see where you really believe in yourself. Okay. Now, if you, when you start to understand let's say you just had the date, you're on your way home, and you're so excited, and you hear, oh, he's not really into me. Instead of this time biting into the doubt, this time you go, oh, what did I just hear? Oh, he's not really into me. What did Cary say? Turn the doubt inside out. That means the opposite is true. So, oh, that means he really is into me. Now, wait a second. How does that feel? How does that feel? To take a second and realize, oh, that you checked your mind of the challenge that came up, and you really understand it, that he is into you. Doesn't that feel exciting? Doesn't that feel wonderful? Doesn't that feel the energy to keep going, even though let's say the date went great, you can still feel scared and go, oh my, like, fear of like having the thing you really want. Okay. So I want to, if I can, share a story with you at this point that I
Mhm.
think a lot of women can relate. Okay. So at this point, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was about a year and a half or so, or so, something like that. I came across a woman who heard, you know, she responded to contacting me on from one of these interviews that I've had, like yours or other folks. And she called me, and we had a discovery session. And it turned out that she was in has just raised two young sons who are now in college. Got a divorce early on when they were in elementary school. Hasn't dated for years. Really wants to get into a relationship, but is filled with doubts. Like, can I really do it? Is it possible? And hasn't been on dating sites or whatever, and just like is overwhelmed by the whole process, and just a lot of doubts and fears. And in the conversation with her, she realized, this that I offer in terms of a process could really help her. So she became a client, and I was working with her. And this was very quickly, things started to change for her. She really started to turn the doubts inside out. She really started to work herself. And she's from turning the doubts around, she was getting excited and giddy, like, wow, really getting clear of the kind of relationship she wants and the kind of man she wanted to bring into her life. And Michelle, before we even finished our few month coaching program, she was already in an amazing relationship that just happened. It just happened effortlessly. And they're off just about getting ready to get married, at this point. Now, this situation is not uncommon with when people start looking at their doubts and fears and insecurities, um, and being willing to break from those patterns. In order to do that, though, you gotta have some tools, right? You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You gotta be willing to take action. You gotta be willing to be transparent and put yourself out there and realize, yeah, I got some issues, whatever they are. So what? Who doesn't? Hello. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, but then be in your heart to go, I'm so passionate and I'm so excited. And I'm going to ask, people who are listening here, I'm going to ask a difficult question, and it's not pretty. Think about what you really want. Okay. Like, do you really want to be in a relationship? Do you really want this juicy, nourishing, nurturing relationship? Probably, yeah, I do want it. It's great, great, great. Yeah, yeah. But then I'm going to ask, do you know how to deal with the doubts right now completely, that you could turn them around in 5 minutes or less? And probably not as many people will say yes to that. But I want to ask you even a more important question. How will it feel like going forward into your life, and you've lived now a long life, but you never had the relationship of your dreams, and you're on your deathbed. Is this going to matter to you? Is this going to go, damn it, I'm here dying and I didn't create my dreams? Is that going to matter to you? Is that going to be in a place of, like disappointment and upset and all of that? And if it does, good. And if it does, keep listening and keep, then I say, then you're in a good place. I get that, and I empathize with you that it may not feel good, but I'm saying your success, your dreams are around the corner. They're closer than you think. So I know I'm kind of going, long-winded here, but I just want to share one other thing with this, that you really have to take a look at your inner game, okay? And understand that, that you are going to be challenged. And so you may have that self-sabotage. You may already have a litany of negative voices, or you've worked to start clearing those out. And then you're looking back at your New Year's resolution and kind of, now you're in, January, 2 weeks into January, and looking at your dreams and go, oh yeah, I want this beautiful hunk, and oh, he's going to take great care of me. And oh, can I really have that? Ooh, like, oh, he'll be financially successful and desire to take vacations and travel the world with me too. Is that possible? And you're like, oh, that's not possible, or whatever, and start spiraling down, and you let go of your dream. You let go of your desire. And this is why New Year's resolutions fall apart quicker than people give them the chance. Okay, you need to keep working it. It's not like every day you're gonna feel awesome and you're gonna feel in your heart excited. I would hope that to be, but you have to understand may not happen. But yet, with certain tools that I share about, in terms of turning the doubts around, you can have that happen, and really quickly. And then you get excited to know, Michelle, like, oh, that doubt that I just had, like, oh, it's not possible to have this. You get excited. You go, oh, this is really good. Oh, the feeling in my body when the thought happened, no, it doesn't feel good. And I get it. It never feels good. But the point that it happened is really good. It's your subconscious is telling you you're really close to success. But are you going to go the distance? Are you going to take the actions to clear those pathways? And that may mean going back to your childhood and, in your thinking, and go, wow, I had some terrible thoughts about myself then, and those things carried out in my life. That may be, or you may be totally fine with that, or work those things through and still have doubts about experiences and relationships that you think like are not possible. So this is, again, it isn't hard, Michelle. It's just new. And I want all the folks listening here just to remember that. Embrace your heart. Get excited for the dreams that you do want. And know that it's going to take some action, but not so difficult. And life will support you at the level you really believe you can be supported at. Think about that. If you take the time and consistently go, something just came to me that I'm going to share after this in a moment, but and consistently believe that you can have your dreams no matter what's showing up. Matter that, back to the apple seed, it's taking so long for it to come, but you're so excited for that first apple. I want to ask everyone who's listening, did you ever hear of Cinderella?
Yeah.
Cinderella's story is so amazing, and especially oh gosh, I'm thinking of the woman's name here. Who was the singer? Who is the actress who sang who is in Julie Andrews? Thank you for telling me, Michelle. I got the memo. So there is a version of Cinderella that Julie Andrews did. It was like 1954 or 55. It was one night. You can get it on PBS, like PBS videos. I recommend for every person to see this, because it's acting what I'm talking about here, because Cinderella held to her dreams when everyone, her stepmother, her stepsisters were saying, oh, you're ugly, you'll never get in a relationship, blah blah blah. And that's when her fairy godmother stepped in and changed her whole life, because she said, look, Cinderella, you are holding this dream so strongly, and you can get paid to have a better job than caring for your stepmother and your stepsisters. Then why are you here? And Cinderella said, well, it's because I think that's what my father wanted me to do, to care for them. Now maybe that's her real father, or maybe that's the father above. Again, the intelligence inside of us that says you're going to go through some challenges, but it's there to support you. It's there to bring you to where you want to go. And I'll just say, did Cinderella did her dreams happen?
Mm-hmm.
And, and I'll just say, then it's waiting for you too. And it's not far off. No, it's not a fairy tale. It's real, and you can make it happen. So I know I've talked and talked here, but I'm going to shut up now, and you can ask the next question.
Well, I want to put the accent on a couple of things that you've said so far, Cary. So we've covered a lot of ground here, and I want to just put some accents on a few things that you said, if that's all right,
Yeah.
before we move forward with the question. And the first thing is coming back to the childhood experiences that may be impacting us well into adulthood, which I think is a very, very common thing, and you cited some research around it. I think that this is a factor for so many people. In fact, for most of us, I think we've had a certain amount of dysfunction, and on the extreme side, abuse within our families of origin. And I just wanted to say, if there is really deep healing work or support work that needs to be done, that is a really important place to start, because it's really hard for us to move through the rest of this process that you're talking about if we haven't had some support or healing, whatever is needed around that. And I look at coaching as being more of a forward-looking process. When I start with my clients, we're looking at where you're at right now, where you'd like to be, clarifying that deep vision that you've been talking about, and making that vision so big that it inspires you to keep going through the ups and downs and whatever may come along. But, in order to be able to move forward, sometimes there's a certain amount of the past that has to be healed in whatever way is right and best for you. So I just wanted to put the little accent on that. And I know you said that, but I really wanted to make sure that was really clear for people. The other thing I just said was, when you undertake any big goal or any big vision, and for women listening right now, it may be that vision of having that wonderful, soul satisfying, loving, passionate relationship. And both you and I had our own long and winding journeys to getting to that place in our own lives, so we know about the journey. But I kind of mentioned this already. I believe that that vision has to be clear enough, strong enough, and inspiring enough that it inspires us to keep going through the ups and downs of dating, and to be able to keep moving through and challenging and inviting that switch of those fear and doubts that come up. Like for me, if a vision is not inspiring enough, or it's not clear enough for me, it's hard for me to stay motivated to keep going. So I think that you, again, alluded and talked a little bit about that, but I wanted to put the explanation point on that, because that, I think, is a big reason why sorry, my computer was acting up. I think that's another reason why New Year's resolutions sometimes don't happen or aren't followed through with. We know that the biggest month of the year, the biggest time of the year for people to join the gym, to join dating sites and that sort of thing, it's January. But of course, the gym might be a lot emptier come February or March, right? And then just one other thing I wanted to put an emphasis on. You know how you talked about maybe someone goes out on a date and um, they have a wonderful time, but then the fears or the doubts start coming in and they start saying, well, he's not really that into me. You know, when you talked about that piece, I just want to say, yeah, I think we can, like, you know, challenge those fears and doubts and beliefs and switch them around like you're talking about. But I want to take it like one step further and see if you agree with this too, Cary. Even if that guy maybe isn't into you, like maybe you're right. Maybe he's really not that into you. Maybe he wants a blonde and you're a brunette, or maybe he doesn't like redheads if it's me. um, it still doesn't mean like what we would interpret that to mean. It still might mean maybe this is not the right guy for me, and maybe the universe is revealing that to me in a very loving and caring way before I get more invested here, so that I can move forward to that man that is going to see me as his love of who's going to cherish and adore and respect and want me and everything that I am.
Yeah, great point, Michelle. And I appreciate all the things you've been talking about. Thank you for that. To quickly answer this last part, there's two elements. There's two different kinds of doubts. There's one when it is this thought, like, well, you're consciously are reviewing a situation, and you're going, I'm not so sure I'm into him because of this happened, or when I said this, like, I'm really into, going into growing as a soul and, being vulnerable and sharing my heart. He kind of reacted like he snickered, or, it wasn't it was something like, really wasn't his thing. Pay attention to that. That's a good quote unquote doubt to observe.
Right.
What I was talking though about, okay, so that's one conscious doubt. But what I was speaking of, it's unconscious, like you're all of a sudden you hear this thought in your head. That is telling you the exact opposite of what it's saying to you. So those are two different elements there to understand. So if you hear the doubt again, like, oh, he's not really into you, that doesn't mean that he's not. That's actually telling you he is. Learn to translate that. So that so, and what you're getting at though is, no matter what, play it out, and understand that if this situation, this relationship, like you're saying, if it doesn't turn out, so what? Go, that's telling you something. And if you put in the anchor, these what I call anchors, or affirmations, that then you say, like, I choose to have a wonderful and attract or manifest a wonderful relationship now, whether it's this person or someone else now. And you keep doing this, you keep doing this, you keep doing this. This is magnetizing your energy to literally attract this person come into your life. And as you do this and do it correctly, you're going to feel a sense of effervescence, right? You're going to feel a sense of joy start happening. You're going to feel a sense of, in your heart, smiling. You're going to feel like, oh, wow, it's getting close. How do I know? I just feel it. I can't tell you why. I've been on 6 dates and each one was a schlump, but I can tell you I'm working myself and I know it's getting close. Now that's what we're talking about. And I also want to share with you, if that's happening because you are filling yourself with self-love. And this is another key ingredient to attract the right relationship into your life. Oftentimes people are seeking relationships to fill the void, the emptiness, the loneliness inside of themselves. And that's okay. Find out where you're at. But if you feel that emptiness, I invite you to start filling it up. Start sealing those gaps. Like you said, And like I've shared, maybe it's come from past relationships, maybe it's come from childhood, that you have this hole in your energy field, in your being, in your mental emotional state. Work to start filling that up. And as you do, by again, positive thoughts, positive anchors, learning to transform the doubts, which, if there's time here in a few minutes, I'll share again, like a little bit more about that. Um, and you will start to feel a shift and change. You'll start to feel the heaviness and the darkness of despair of I want a relationship, but it's so challenging to have one, to start lifting and getting lighter. And once you're totally filled up with the love inside of yourself, you got to love yourself first. And when you're that place, you're going to be joyful. You're going to meet people with not, new guys, and they're cute, or whatever, and you're attracted to them, and not without even the pressure of, oh, maybe he's the one. You'll meet them and have a great talk with them and connect, and maybe they are that person, but you don't care anymore. Like, you're enjoying the process, and if it's not him, it's going to be someone else, equal or better. There's nothing to worry about. My Prince Charming is on his way now. And that now happens from each day, whether it takes you 2 days or 2 years till you find that person. Stay in that loving presence. You will see your life change, and whole new, like, if you're going like, hey, I have this great list, but I keep seeming to attract guys they're not they don't match my list, then that also is telling you, keep working and keep holding what you want with excitement, with joy, with wonder. And it does sometimes take some assistance to keep that going day after day and not fall down the trap. But as long as you keep going, and again, it's not about being perfect, but catching yourself and it's re-inspiring in whatever way, or get the assistance through friends or coaching or books or whatever, you most definitely will have your dreams met. Life wants to give you, your dreams. It wants to support you. Nothing can hold you back other than one thing, Michelle. The one thing that's going to hold you back from having your dreams is you. Because to me, there is no such thing as failure. Things may not always work out, but if you keep going, you are bound to get the essence of what you want. It happens all the time, but you got to keep going. You can't go with, oh, I've dated so and so and so many guys in this town, and I just can't seem to find a guy who's open or spiritually aware, and blah blah blah. And then I'll ask people, oh, so where do you live? Oh, I live in San Francisco. Oh, okay, so an area where there's millions of probably single men. Oh, so how many dates you been on? Even 100? Have you met them all? So then, no, you haven't, more than likely. So why do you say that? I seemingly am not meeting, I seemingly can't meet the guy of my dreams. Well, that's again, wanting success, but preparing for failure. Your subconscious doesn't give a damn what you say. It cares what your actions are. So you could do your list. And I think they're wonderful and they're important, but you got to be watching what your actions are, externally and internally. And if you're doing that and staying true to it, Michelle, the man of your dreams is gonna fall into your arms potentially. He's figuratively gonna fall into your arms effortlessly, whether you are actively doing online stuff or just putting it out there, being your joyous, precious, juicy, loving woman that you are. Get in touch with your juicy feminine. That's a whole other subject that we're not even going to touch on today, but that's the key, women. Men want your juiciness. We love your precious heart and caring feminine qualities. And bring that to the table. Get in touch with those things, and you're going to you're going to feel your vitality, your libido growing, and you're going to find men who are going to be like, hey, what's your name? I want to go out with you. Because not only that, we just don't see it that often as much anymore because of, life is a little bit more duro. It's a little bit more harder these days. And, like it's, I think, more uncommon to meet a woman who's really in her real life feminine, especially if she hasn't been in a relationship for a long time. So
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm just saying it's something that's a secret for all of you women to know, that truly guys want to be around a juicy woman who's loving, caring, compassionate, understanding, excited, and wants all those things back with him. And can't you see, if you have doubts about your own self, if you have doubts about, can I really meet the guy in my dreams, all of these kind of little by little percolate away that juiciness, but it's not gone forever. It can come back at any moment. So,
Yeah, and
whew, I mean,
I'm so glad you touched on this, Cary, even though we didn't have a lot of time to talk specifically about this, because with my private clients and with my clients that are in my Mr. Right Academy program, this is a topic that we do ongoing training on. I help my private clients in this area, and in the Mr. Right Academy, this piece around femininity, feminine presence, feminine energy, because a lot of the women are feeling a little bit disconnected with that, and what that specifically looks like in terms of interacting with and relating with men on dates, or even in just in conversations, or and creating that opportunity where it can create kind of that kind of attraction chemistry that happens between a man and a woman when a woman is showing up in that feminine way. And so I call it the femininity factor in my work, but it's such an important piece. It's such an important piece. And I
yeah,
really appreciate you mentioning that and emphasizing how important that is to a man. And and I know that that's, a really important piece. Like you said, that's a whole nother topic. We could have a whole nother conversation on that, but I'm
yeah,
really
yeah.
glad you mentioned it.
Thank you, Michelle. And I'm sorry, I just got in a roll here and didn't give you much chance to chat.
That's okay. That's okay. You're the featured guest today, and I'm glad that you're so passionate about what you want to share. And I think the things you have shared are really inspiring and really important and really timely for where we're at
Hmm,
this beginning of the new year. And I think that this will give a lot of women inspiration and hope. And
yeah,
I like the title that we started with, which is Creating the Relationship of Your Dreams, because I think that's an empowering word, to create. And
yeah,
we sometimes, I think, forget the power that we have to create what we desire in our own lives. Like, we just think we're like victims of circumstances sometimes. I know I felt
yeah,
that way sometimes. Back when I was
yeah,
single, I'm like, it's just not happening for me. And I felt like it was just uh, like, like I was powerless to do anything about it. I wasn't, but at times I felt that way.
yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. I totally understand. And then to turn it around. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
and so Cary, I
wonderful.
know that you have some, I know you have some things you wanted to share with us about some of the work you have coming up, and you have a free gift for everyone that's listening. And I want to
Yeah.
be respectful of your time. You and I,
Oh, yeah.
we love to talk. We could talk all day, but I want to be
Yes.
respectful of your time. So let's
Uh,
give you a chance to share a
sure.
little about that, if you will.
Be happy to. So thank you for that, Michelle. So I've touched upon a little bit of um, this elements that I've talked about, turning the doubts inside out. And I have been working with this system that I've been developing for over a decade, to the point of really at a master level, that it's time for it to, really reach out at a more global place. And I found that the best way to do that would be to put an online video course together. So I have done that. It's in post-production. It might be ready right now when people hear this. So I'll share how and a little bit more here, that this program is to really teach you step by step how to turn the doubts inside out for a relationship, how to transform whatever your fears, insecurity, anxiety, even depression, turning it around. And it takes you step by step. What I normally do when I'm working one-on-one with people, you're going to experience the same thing in this video course, where you have the opportunity to do it at your own pace, and it gets the same results, and very powerful. And so this course is called Champion Your Inner Game for Relationships. And if you want to find more information about it, or the best thing would be to get the special report that I'm going to offer here, which is the #1 way to attract and sustain a joyous, juicy relationship. And this special report is an instant way to, and it's a fun way to, quick and easy, a questionnaire revealing how ready you are for a passionate, loving, intimate relationship. And it's going to show you your strengths and the areas to work on. And so I recommend to get that anyway. It's a wonderful special report. And in there, I will have the information as to how you can find out more about the relationship Champion Inner Game online course. And as well as if you want to have other questions or things that you want to share with me, my email address will be there. And how you can get it is simply go to the website caryvalentine.net, CARY Valentine, like Valentine's Day.net. And in the top of the website, there'll be a little box. It's like to sign in, put your name and email address. And when you do that, you'll instantly get this special report. So I encourage you to do that. Encourage you to take the steps to have your dreams happen. Michelle, I've gotten through so much of such negativity in my own life, have said, you can't do it. It's not possible. This course itself that I've done, believe me, it was just like such an internal pressure to birth this. And I know you can relate this from some of your own programs. So know that I really empathize with you if you are feeling like, I want to have this relationship, but part of me doesn't believe it. That's okay. You're about to have the breakthrough. Take an action, like get this, report, and take whatever action that is going forward. Whatever you need, seek it out, because life wants to support you. My question to you as we finish here: how much do you really want to live? How much do you really want to love? How important is having a wonderful, loving relationship with yourself, with having an intimate partner, and to go forward in your life? Can I be really candid here? That's really juicy. That I want to, because, you and I, we're dealing with relationship stuff every day, talking to people. And I want to, and I hear lists all the time, but something happened to me and my fiance this week, because I want to share with you all, and maybe this will excite you to put it on your list. We're very busy with our lives, with our work, and with the kids. And, we just, things happened a day this week where it just worked out that she could have them, the morning and the afternoon off. And I had plans for work, but, after the kids left, we were in the mood, and, and it was just like, we went for it. And it was worth it to me to forget the work I needed to do to be present and have a loving, love-making, incredible connection with her that gave both of us inspiration and juiciness. So what I'm saying is, like, is it worth, and are you with a partner that you want to, miss out on work and maybe even money on that particular day for the joy of being together? and the connection and the juiciness of lovemaking that inspires you to then go do the rest of your work and other than that. So add that, to our list, ladies, like be with a man that you're willing to, call in sick for the day, or he is too, and make juicy love, and for no reason at all other than you're feeling it in the mood. So yeah, I just want to share that.
Thank you so much, Cary. Thank you so much. And I wanted to also let everyone know that the link to your special report will also be in the notes underneath the video here. That will be there too as well. And or so you can click on that or go to caryvalentine.net, right?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Well, Cary, as always, it's such a delight to connect with you. We always have so much fun, and I really appreciate our friendship and being colleagues with you, and all you've contributed to my programs over the years. And I know that this is going to be a really inspiring way for a lot of the women to kick off the new year. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, same. Thank you, Michelle. And same here. I'm so grateful for the work you're doing and our friendship as well, and this connection. And I'm so excited for this year. Let's make it an awesome, best year ever. It's awaiting us. And today's the first day of making that so. So why not? It's unwritten canvas. It's unpainted canvas. Put on it whatever you want, and just enjoy your beautiful creation. So thank you, Michelle, so much as well.
Yeah, and Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Woohoo!
All right, well, Cary and I are both sending you lots of love, many blessings, and best wishes for much joy, happiness, health, whatever you desire in this year ahead. And you get to go out there and begin to create it. So we're really happy you joined us, and really appreciate you being a part of the Man of the Month series. Cary, thank you once again for all that you've shared, and for the great work you're doing in the world too. And I'm so happy that life has you smiling at this point. So happy for
Thank
your
you, Michelle.
happiness.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a wonderful choice every second of every day. So thank you. And I appreciate it. Make the choice. And hui ho. See you around.
Bye-bye for now.